The Unheard Melody. Chapter 1. The Serendipitous Meeting. The Unheard Melody was more than just a bookstore. It was a haven for lost souls, seekers of knowledge, and dreamers. Its musty scent of aged paper mixed with freshly brewed coffee always seemed to carry the promise of adventure, whispering tales from pages that had seen countless journeys. I, Lila, slipped through the doorway, my fingers tracing the worn spine of a novel as I navigated the narrow aisles amidst towering shelves. My heart skipped a beat when my gaze met those of Ethan, the new employee who'd caught my attention weeks ago with his disarming smile and eyes that seemed to hold worlds within them. His presence felt both familiar and foreign in this sanctuary we shared. Ethan's fingers brushed against mine as he reached for the same book I had claimed. Our touch sparked an electric current. "Sorry," he whispered, releasing the volume before meeting my gaze with a warm smile. "You were here first." It was an innocent exchange yet felt like a promise of things to come. As we parted ways, each returning to their respective tasks, my hands trembled slightly. I couldn't recall ever feeling such a spark amidst dusty pages and whispered conversations. Days passed, and our encounters became routine, exchanging book recommendations and brief tales of personal struggles. He spoke of his family's bookstore, battling to stay afloat in this digital age, while I confided in the silence of my secret passion for writing, never daring to share it with anyone but the characters within my stories. Ethan listened intently, his eyes reflecting understanding and encouragement. One afternoon, as I cataloged books beneath his supervision, he leaned in close enough that our shoulders touched. "You know," he murmured, "sometimes the most beautiful melodies remain unheard." It was an enigmatic statement, but it resonated deep within me. My own unspoken dreams echoed its truth. That evening, after closing hours, Ethan surprised me by offering a cup of coffee from his family's shop across the street. The rich aroma mingled with the scent of pages as we sat outside on a wooden bench beneath the bookstore's awning. "I saw you lingering over poetry once," he said softly, eyes dancing between mine and the book in my hands, "and wanted to understand what drew you here." My pulse quickened under his gaze. Sharing my dreams with this stranger felt perilously close to intimacy. Yet, in that moment, I found myself pouring out stories of love, loss, and longing, my soul's symphony. Ethan listened attentively, nodding along as if he heard not just the words but the echoes within them. His own dreams, too, were bound in literature. Writing had been his first love before life led him to bookselling. As the last rays of sunlight faded, I returned the book, the one I'd initially chosen, and he followed, walking me home under the twilight sky. The world seemed quieter with each step, as if the city had stepped back to allow our connection to unfurl. At my doorstep, a gentle pressure on his shoulder stopped him from leaving. "Thank you for listening," I whispered, hand extended in gratitude. He shook it firmly before releasing it, an unspoken understanding that this was just beginning. Ethan retreated into shadows as he always did, leaving me with more questions than answers. That night, fingers danced across my keyboard, the words flowing like never before. Ethan had awakened something within, this unheard melody, the rhythm of which I'd longed to share with the world. Weeks passed in such stolen moments and borrowed conversations. One morning, as rain pattered against the windowpane, he invited me for coffee amidst his family's shelves, a silent declaration. Over steaming cups, our voices wove together, laughter and shared stories. Ethan spoke of dreams deferred while I confided in my unmet aspirations to publish. As we delved deeper into our soul's corners, an unseen connection strengthened. But life can be cruel. Misfortune struck when his family's business fell prey to rising rents, forcing him to consider drastic measures. His smile faltered as he spoke of potential layoffs or worse, closure. My fingers instinctively clenched around my pen and notebook, the story I'd been weaving unfolding within me taking on a life of its own. "I have an idea," I suggested, heart pounding in my ears. In his bewilderment, I proposed a collaboration, a literary event, combining their love for books with my passion to write. Ethan's eyes widened as he considered it, a chance to bridge the gap between old and new, preserving memories amidst digital chaos. Together we crafted flyers, spreading hope through wordplay on walls that could use an infusion of life. The day of our event dawned gray but promising. Bookshelves were rearranged, cozy nooks created for readers' solace. Ethan's family cooked up a storm in the backroom cafe. As patrons arrived, I felt as though the bookstore had been transformed overnight into a sanctuary, our haven. Conversations flowed and laughter filled the air, the symphony of voices blending with the rhythm of pages. In this cacophony, we found solace, strangers no more. Chapter 2. Pages turned. In the weeks that followed, Ethan and I harmonized our efforts, crafting an evening that spoke to hearts yearning for connection. Our collaboration birthed Literary Sanctuary, a haven where stories came alive through words and laughter. As we spent more time together, our bond blossomed. The way he read me in stolen glances, the tender touches of hands during readings, a hand on my arm or a brush against his, suggested there was more to this serendipity than chance meetings. Ethan confessed his dreams for writing poetry, leaving behind verses that spoke directly to hearts. I, too, shared fragments of my work, my first love affair with words. The tension between us pulsed like an unrequited melody, yearning to be composed. A sudden misunderstanding shook our harmony when I received a call from the city council. Literary Sanctuary was in danger due to zoning restrictions, a cruel irony amidst their renewed popularity. Ethan's heart was heavy, mine shattered at the prospect of losing this haven. We met outside the town hall, his eyes brimming with unshed tears as we discussed our last resort, appealing through public support and community rallies. Yet, the weight of uncertainty hung over us like an unseen melody, threatening to silence what we'd built together. Ethan's hands cradled mine, a gentle comfort in the face of adversity. "I believe," he said, his voice cracking, "our stories are not just ink on paper, they hold hearts." I nodded vigorously as a gust of wind rustled through leaves nearby, an omen. He led me to the town square's makeshift stage, where a crowd had gathered in solidarity, a symphony of voices pleading for our sanctuary. Words poured from my lips, Ethan and I standing as one voice on that stage, speaking directly to the hearts we sought to heal. It was both exhilarating and terrifying, our love, our passion resonating through the air. With each plea, a connection sparked between us, eyes locked, understanding passed between strangers turned allies. And then, in the chaos of applause and promises of support, he took my hand, fingers intertwining as if sealing an unspoken vow, the promise of fighting on together, for love and literature. I leaned into him, his lips brushed against mine, a note so long awaited, it harmonized with our hearts. The crowd cheered not just for Literary Sanctuary, but the possibility of love that had blossomed amidst its pages, two souls embracing the power of words. Yet, the council's verdict loomed. In a final act of defiance, we vowed to continue, transforming the sanctuary into an outdoor space, a place where hearts could still meet in silence and song. Ethan began writing, his poetry filling every night with hope, my novels, echoes of love. Our sanctuary became an oasis within a bustling cityscape, drawing readers from far and wide. The council's refusal only strengthened our resolve, this unspoken symphony of two hearts beating for literature and life. Chapter 3. The final chapter. Rain laced the day, literary sanctuary, faced eviction once more. Ethan arrived before me, journal open on a weathered bench, poems penned for every soul present that morning, his pen moving with an intensity I'd witnessed only through my writing. As we read together, theirs and ours, it seemed as though words painted the sky, a chorus of raindrops harmonized, responding to our plea. The community rallied, voices raised in protest against eviction orders, a symphony that echoed in council chambers. The mayor emerged, offering an ultimatum: renegotiate rent or leave. Hearts were heavy but not silenced. In this final dance between fate and love, Ethan pulled me close, his breath a gentle melody. "Let's go home," he whispered. Hand in hand, we approached the bench where it began, the spot I'd first shared my tales with him, and composed an impromptu love poem on a rainy day that would seal our futures, a symphony of promises and dreams. We spoke of a future not yet written, us, our sanctuary, and the tales waiting to be penned. A gentle kiss sealed our resolve, fingers intertwined as we braved the council's chambers, voices raised in solidarity. The mayor relented, their rent reduced, allowing literary sanctuary to thrive in its outdoor form. Together, we held each other close, a harmony of hearts. Our love and dreams had become a poem inscribed on city walls, challenging the mundane with beauty. We stood there, beneath the awning he'd chosen, embracing stories that needed no closure. Ethan took my hand once more, home. He spoke of his first novel, the one he'd always wanted to write, a story of love amidst literary solace. My heart skipped a beat as I handed him the pen. The sky rained upon us. Beneath its veil, we crafted tales, our love and dreams intertwined like the lines on an untold page. And so we wrote, of sanctuary and of hearts that found each other in stories. Our symphony transcended words, two souls echoing a story of love amidst literature's embrace, as raindrops sang their approval. The last drop fell when Ethan read aloud from his manuscript. The world held its breath, as if to say, this was but the beginning. We had given hearts an anthem, our sanctuary would live on in hearts, and within pages yet to be written. Under awnings once shared by strangers turned lovers, we exchanged vows amidst tales of hope and love. Our symphony of dreams resonated with a world that wanted solace, a place where literature could heal all wounds, the unheard, the lonely, and those yearning for echoes in the night. We returned home beneath rain-soaked awnings, our sanctuary, our love, an ode to every tale waiting to be written. The day's symphony was but the refrain of what we'd yet compose, a life together, bound by the rhythms of words, echoing through ages.